Cool.
All right, well, welcome everybody. Just to reset the room, you are in the Women's Aftertown breakout session where we empower diversity through building relationships and through education. And today we have a very special guest, somebody who actually started these rooms, and we're so grateful to her. And so we're going to learn a little bit more about Juliana and the company that she's behind and helping to build, and also a little bit more about what her catalyst proposals look like as well. So welcome, Juliana. Thank you for not just being here, but for making sure that we're here every week and putting this on.
Yes, thank you. That's thank you for this introduction. So I will maybe start with how I became engaged with technologies and the challenges that got me to here. So 5 years ago, I moved to England, and I didn't know English. So it was a huge challenge because I lived in Bulgaria and I was as a landscape architect there, and everything was fine. I was in my comfort zone, but I decided that I need to overcome myself, my fears, and I moved to England. I had a master degree here. It was a huge challenge because when you don't understand anyone and anything, it could be very confusing. But luckily I found a job as software engineer because I'm very stubborn, and I just went to a lot of calls to a lot of different companies and do a lot of volunteering work in order to learn the language and to just learn the language. And because this barrier was a very huge for communicating, I basically didn't have any friends here because first I didn't want to talk, and second I didn't understand anything, so there was no way to go, no point. But I had time for software engineering, and I got that's how I got this job. And I was surrounded by a lot of developers, PHP developers mostly. So I had a lot of experience just being with them and learning and trying to understand the field. And because I lost all these social skills, I lost confidence, I lost absolutely everything. And at some point I hear that people have mentors. I didn't know why I need a mentor or what is that or that kind of stuff, but I decided that I will search for a mentor. And I searched for a mentor like a month or something, but it was like just Googling and that kind of stuff. So I found a mentor in New Zealand, which is far away, but it was perfect because I didn't need to meet this person. It was so far away that it doesn't matter. And this person happened to be my co-founder now, because this is Natalie. So you know Natalie, because she was the role model that I was looking for, and she was exactly a couple of steps ahead of me. And I didn't know that sharing experience could be so much powerful, and especially from a woman, because before that, so we have mentors like in our lives, like different mentors, but like your parents or your friends or someone that is like a manager to you or my boss. But I haven't had that kind of relevant role model that helped me to believe in myself again and to see, okay, I can achieve that as well, and to build that confidence and to be here now and to speak in English in many people, and to be in that stage in 2 weeks from now in London in such a huge event and to speak in many people. So that is a huge challenge. That was a huge challenge for me, and I discovered that mentorship is super powerful tool. And in a lot of research, so mentorship dates back from like still ancient Greeks, where they used mentorship as a tool for transfer knowledge. But this tool, it's very simple, but it is all about to find the right role model that is just ahead, a couple of steps ahead of you. So the mentor, what happens with the mentor is it builds huge confidence and validates what you as a person already have achieved in your life. And from the mentee's perspective is you can practice and you can get these practical advices from this person. And it's such an interesting experience. So I become very passionate about this, and because I'm just kind of like try to debug myself to understand more about myself, my personality, my psychology, my brain and human brains at all. And I just get involved in this education field because mentorship is a form of education. And we have built this company where we have now more than 700 women from all around the world. And actually, yeah, so this year we started to, because the platform is free for us, mentorship should be free. And especially if you have high ambitions in your career as a woman, if you go higher and higher and higher, you meet few women, and there is less role models. And actually, the percentages that are more like famous in that kind of statistic is that 6% women in Fortune 500 companies, which is only 6% are women. So you can, so we are not like fighting for equality in that kind of much, but just supporting women, because it is important to support each other, and that way support like and lifting each other, not collaborating, just collaborating. That is super important. And it's not only about bringing more women, because actually there is a lot of engineers, women engineers, but what is happening is that many of them, after 6 years or 7 years, was the statistics made in the US, they leave the environment, the tech environment, because they don't feel, they haven't found the support. And so this is what we really believe, and and especially the how people build trusted relationship, because we have social media and we have that kind of shallow networks where you can like someone, but how much do you know this person? Can you share something personal? Can you build a deep relationship that really changes your life? And actually, in our platform, that was super surprising statistic that 75% of the women that we have matched said it was a life-changing experience for their life. And we was like, whoa, okay, so we do make some influence, we do make some impact, and we do change women's life. And so that's why we decided to introduce a business model which is working with organizations. So we started to work with organizations from this year. Before that, the service was free, so it is still free for single users. The business model that we introduced is with organizations. So we started to, we had a pilot project with INSEAD, Business School of the World. And
what is that? What's the name of that? How do you spell it?
INSEAD, I will message that here.
Okay.
INSEAD, it's Business School of the World.
Hi, Quasar. And just to, because you have told us so much, I want to just reiterate for the people who have just joined and just repeat everything that I took away, that like the nuggets, so that I thought was like really impactful of what you just said. So basically, you were taken out of your comfort zone, you moved from another country, you did not speak the language, you come from a technical background, which as a woman is already, you know, the statistics show it's such a little percentage within that space. And you met Natalie, who is now the co-founder of your company, OneUpOneDown. And through her relationship with you and the mentorship of, not only was she uniquely fit to be a mentor for you because she was a couple steps ahead of you in the process of getting into this space and understanding how to navigate it, but like your personalities and kind of know, and even though she was in New Zealand and you're in the UK, it worked out well. And now you're taking that experience and you're saying, this was such a great experience for me. We need to expand this and make this something available for other women in this space, because when women don't have support, the statistics are showing that they are leaving the space. There are a lot of technical minded women who are leaving the space after 5-6 years because they don't feel the support from the community, and maybe you know, they've just been burnt out a little bit. So I love where this is going. And I hope Quasar now feels a little bit brought up to speed. And the organization that you dropped in the chat, Seed. Okay, cool. And so this is one of the organizations that your company is partnered with.
Yes, as well as another organization that just came to board, which is Business Center for Women in Technologies. So we will be cross-matching between pools, because we have built a structure, and actually our proposals in Fund 8, we have 3 proposals in Fund 8, which is about mentorship and building trusted relationships, because our product is basically a software that uses a machine learning algorithm to find the perfect match. So it gives us predictions in probabilities, how likely is that could be the perfect match. So we want to replicate our model and to use that kind of technology in Catalyst space. So we help the community to become more engaged and to build that kind of deep relationships, because building the relationships is basically building trust between people. And if you can build trust between people, you can achieve a lot more. But how do you build trust in a scale? It is difficult. You connect with people, but how do you build a trust? Through our specific design program, we saw there is a way, and there is a way to excel this technology, and technology actually allows us to excel that, and especially blockchain allow us to change the direction, because currently we are a centralized company, as you can see, but we want to make it decentralized, so it's not so our company is going well, but it would be really cool if we can replicate this on Cardano.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So it's almost like, and don't shoot the messenger here if I butcher this metaphor, but it's almost like you're taking the dating website model and using it in a professional manner to match mentees with mentors, and want to do it on Cardano to help with community building. I think that's amazing. Was that the end of your talk?
Yes, definitely. So exactly as you said, like similar as a dating, but in more deep level, because in a date you can go on a date and then leave, while the program is designed that you go in a match for 3 months, and for these 3 months you can build this relationship, which would build that kind of trust. So yeah, similar.
That's amazing. I'm going to post in the chat here a link to your website.
Trust is hard in any exchange. Absolutely, building the trust is super hard, and because especially in technology. So now we're in a space that we meet so many people in Catalyst, and I haven't met nobody in person. Actually, only one person, which is Jonathan, which was the person that brought me here. How do you know that? How do you know you can trust these people? How? It's human connection, and there is a way to scale the way that we build trust. But it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of switching the mindset, understanding, changing the perspective about competitiveness vice collaboration, or failure, or all these things, because failure is a positive thing, it's a great thing. All these things, it's kind of like, and I see that because we in our organization we work with a lot of young people, with a lot of Gen Z, and these people have a totally different mindset. This is so I'm 30 years old, so I grew in the 90s, and I still have that kind of difference. So we're between the new generation and the old generations, young people.
And you're still a baby. You're still a baby, 30 years old.
Absolutely. Young people have in my other company, because except OneUpOneDown, I'm part of I have another running another company, which is digital agency. I have a couple of young people that are I'm mentoring them in different aspects, and it's so interesting to learn from them because they have nothing like us. It's kind of like totally it requires a new educational system. It requires everything to be built in a new way because these people are different, and it is and I think that is the time that we can change that, and that makes me even more passionate about what we do and why now it's so important to build this trusted relationship, and to change the education. And
No, I agree. We had a few more people join the room. So again, because I'm all about promotion here, I'm just going to reiterate, I'm going to do a little recap of what Juliana set up to this point to bring everyone up to speed, because what she's talking about is so important. And especially for our community, what we do here is empowering diversity, and we're doing it through education and building relationships, and mentorship encompasses both of those. So Juliana moved from Bulgaria to the UK, country she did not speak the language, she did not speak English, and she was very highly technical in background. And it wasn't until she met Natalie, her now business partner, at a convention, and they started a mentee-mentor relationship. Natalie was a couple steps ahead of her in the process. And through that support, not only did she learn English, but now they have a successful mentoring. They took that model that really helped her to thrive in this space, in the Web3 space, and they're extending it to other women. And so they're pairing women with mentors in a way almost like that a dating website does. They want to make sure that not only are the personalities of a good fit, but also the professional. Some of the mentors are very high profile and influential people within the Web3 space, and allowing the community to grow. One of the things that Juliana had spoken about was the statistic, not only of how few women are in the space right now, but that those who are highly technical, after 5-6 years, they leave the space because there is no support. So building her company, which is called OneUpOneDown, with her co-founder, Natalie, who, here's Juliana in the UK, Natalie's in New Zealand. There is no borders when it comes to Web3, right? And there doesn't need to be borders with mentorship either. And so doing that together, now their company is going to be helping to not only bring women into the space, but also to retain them, which is what we need in order to thrive. So I think it's amazing. She was talking about how they have 3 proposals in the Catalyst Fund 8 round right now. And the next thing I want you to do, Juliana, is just explain a little bit the differences between your proposals. I put the links to 2 of them in the chat already. And also for those of you who are new and don't know, Juliana built a wonderful website, which is a women's resource hub. If any of you want to, you have a woman in your life or somebody who's in tech who would like to get connected in community, the website is CardanoCatalystWomen.com. And we have different resources. And if you go to the website and you hover over the resource part at the top, there'll be a little drop down, and the second thing in that list is the second list item is Catalyst Women proposals. So we on that site actually have a whole list of proposals that have been submitted into Fund 8 by women or that have women involved in them. So the space isn't, exclusive or just to women. We welcome everyone. And so we welcome everyone to take a look at the website too. But going forward, I would love, Juliana, if you could just give us, Satya, I see a hand up. Satya.
Yeah, Diana. Juliana, I have a couple of questions, very basic questions. So are you taking questions before I?
Yes. I sometimes I ramble on, so definitely ask your question.
Okay. So one, you said it's completely free. So how is the free mechanism working here?
What do you mean high? What do you mean by high? How?
Basically the mentor and the mentor is not getting incentivized. Is that what you try to convey?
Yeah.
Okay, so then how are you going to get involvement from the mentors?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yes, so actually, all the mentors that we have in our platform are contributing their time for free, and it is so. What we try to do is to educate, as I said earlier, to switch the mind and to change your perspective. And most people till now think that if you're a mentor, you only give your time, you give your knowledge, but actually, if you have been a mentor, by being a mentor, you earn a lot. What you earn is you build your confidence, you build belief in yourself, and you become more self-aware. And being self-aware and being self-awareness is a very interesting part of human psychology, and as well as having control over your ego. These are all the components that you get when you become a mentor. And actually, by educating our people that signed to OneUpOneDown to switch their mind, and what they realize is that being a mentor is actually more beneficial. And I can give you a very simple example. So last week, we have a very interesting feedback, a video feedback from one lady. She's from New York. She's a business analyst. She joined the platform because someone referred to this platform to her. So actually, most of our users come before from word of mouth. We haven't done any marketing. So mostly because of the experience. And she sent me a video message and saying that, Juliana, it's my first time being a mentor, and I didn't know that I have so much knowledge, and I feel so much more confident now. And she's a business analyst, and she said, I want to be mentor again. And for example, I see that this lady has 10 years experience, and she was not sure. So we women, we need someone to believe in us. And by having that kind of mentee that look at you as a respect, you have this kind of you gain this confidence in yourself, and you start believe in yourself a lot. So this is the education process that we apply, and we see that it's working, because it's true. I have it myself. I haven't been a mentor before. It was so scary for me to become a mentor first time. I now have a couple of mentees and mentor as well. And I can tell you that by being a mentor, I get a lot more. And so this is, and yes, it is free. So we have a 3 steps process. So first, to fill your account, to order your preferences, because this fill up the machine learning algorithm. And the 3rd step is to have a 15-minute call in a, let's say, interview. It's not like interview. In this 15-minute call, we make sure that everyone who joins in the platform, and every person that we match, we have find that this person is a serious, and we will not match someone that we haven't checked. It's kind of like filtering. So if you sign up to the platform, if you fill your account, but if you haven't gone through the 15-minute call, the algorithm will not match you because you haven't completed the last step. Did I answer your?
Great. Thank you. It was actually, I'm learning a lot here. So, and yeah, that's actually true. When you try to, teach something or mentor something to another person, a lot of new perspective opens in our own minds. So, as you said, you rightly said, like when we are mentoring someone, we feel confident about ourselves, and yes, and we in the due process, we also have a process of learning also. So
yeah, this famous saying was that if you want to learn something, teach someone.
True, exactly.
So basically that's the case.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome, because what I took away from what you were saying was that, not only does a woman need to be mentored, but if she had 10 years of experience and she didn't think that she didn't know her worth,
we have a very high percentage of women that
that's why women are leaving.
They
don't realize how valuable they are in these spaces.
So this is a lot connected with the imposter syndrome. Actually, imposter syndrome was first discovered through a woman's case because they figured out that in 1978 or something like that. So they found that a lot of women in very high positions, they cannot see what they have achieved in life, and they figure out, okay, so it's kind of like related to the imposter syndrome, and we see that a lot. And we validate that kind of that kind of achievement only by having someone that you can mentor. And yeah, it's so simple, and it's so simple, but it's so powerful. But if you think the most powerful thing in life, they are the most simplest one. So
it's amazing. Kay has a question.
Sorry, I was trying to find my unmute button, still getting familiar with this space here. No, I just wanted to say I preach that a lot about like knowing your worth and then charging 10 or 20% extra, because I feel like a lot of times maybe we get excited and we want to be involved in certain things, and we get involved and then we realize the time constraints and what's involved. And a lot of us bring a very unique skill set, and women do have a way of analyzing things a little bit different than men do. There's no right or wrong way, it's just a different viewpoint. And I think sometimes because there is so much competition with men who are at the same level of maybe expertise, that maybe people will naturally go that way. So maybe a woman would feel less inclined to charge what her worth is, but at the end of the day, like, what's the worst that can happen? You know, put it out there, know your worth, charge your worth. And also when you were talking about the mentorship, like that really stood out to me, because like for me, everything I've learned in crypto has been self-taught. Even with building like my Instagram, my brand, literally everything I've done has been self-taught. Like I've never had a mentor. I've always like looked and been interested in having one, but you know, how do you know that you're finding the right mentor with the right motives and you're teamed up with the right person? So I think that that's really interesting and amazing what you're doing, because I think that that will bridge the gap where you might lose some people who are interested just because they're not teamed up with the right person, and perhaps the information is not in a way that they can digest. So if they're in with the right team who can get them that proper information and can kind of work with them, I think that that'll be hugely beneficial. So I just wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, and I can add that. So what you said, like for example, if you have the case a woman that is, for example, applying or have the same skill set as a man, and they both apply for a position, and actually, what is stopping a woman is just herself. So a woman usually stopping herself from doing that because of the self-doubt. And I found that myself, like even if I'm more experienced than a man, I will, for example, not do that, not because, and I will not blame anyone else than myself, because it's myself. And if I'm able to overcome myself, that's a different story. And it is not like you cannot blame organization or anyone else that they choose men like instead of women, because if you have some person that is more confident and you have a one that doesn't have that confidence, sometimes confidence built. And even if when I hire someone, I want to see confidence. I want to see that this person, I can rely to this person, that this person can catch up and do the work. And if you don't have that kind of self-belief and confidence, it's a stopper. So, and we build these stoppers. So, yeah. And actually, Harry,
yes.
Welcome to this space, and I'm happy that you're here. Harry is actually a co-proposer to our AI mentor matching software. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being a co-proposer.
Oh, well, thank you. That's an absolute pleasure. So yeah, and it's great to see people here again. And I'm sorry I missed the start. I was doing another one, and I was actually talking to Jonathan. So I got an observation, and there's an observation and an acknowledgement, really. So the first one, what I heard, so in what we do, we often go to the two extremes to try and find a perspective and a perception. And so the first one then is the difference between a perception and a perspective. So the perception is the lens that you wear perhaps to see the world. Mm-hmm. So you can say, oh, I'm a male, I'm a female, or it's masculine or feminine, for instance. Yeah. And then the perspective is the level of awareness you've got to look down on things. And often what we pay attention to is the language. So in there, the observation is that you wonderful people. What I've heard is you're talking about women need mentorship. And that's true. Yeah, so that's true, but that for me is that's the perception of it. Well, men need mentorship too, as we talked about before. Men need mentorship too. But when you talk about women need mentorship, you're taking a level of perspective that is lower. And this is what we talked about before about changing, just say it's mentorship. And then sometimes the language then gets more judgmental in that space. You guys are wonderful mentors, full stop. You run a wonderful mentorship program, full stop. And it just happens to be you focus on women as opposed to men. So that would be my comment there. And so be careful, and this was just some language I heard, and it was my observation. It may be rubbish, so I have no right to tell you anything. But there's a language there that says women need mentorship, as if men don't. Yeah, no, that is very true. And actually what we are, so that this is actually my practice speech, because I'm pitching on stage in 2 weeks in London. So this is my practice speech here. So this is a very true, and I do want to make this difference, because you're very right. Our algorithm doesn't work only for women. It is the same for men, and we don't say only women. It is absolutely so for every human being, and that's what we want to focus on: building the trusted relationship, building trust between people, building these kind of relationships by using mentorship as a tool. And I can so if we have when we got there, and when we have more financial support as well, we definitely look to build like a men's option, like men's replicate, because my partner in life, I have tried to find him a mentor. He has tried all the mentorship programs that I found online, but he hasn't been happy with none of them. And he was like, please build one platform for men at some point. and that's it. So there's no criticism in there. Yes. It's more of an empowering thing. It's understand that you build brilliant mentorship stuff. Yeah. And that can be used by women or men. And you guys, you focus on women, and that's it. That's all cool. But it's not something where you're in a space of just women need this. Because my experience having a mentor.
I don't mean to cut in. One of the conversations that we had in the space, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I hear what you're saying, and it is very true. But in this space where there is a lower percentage of women, and not to say that we need it to survive, but I think maybe the language is, it's helpful. You know what I mean? Like, because we really, if the goal is to have a more to have a perspective that is, shared, where both perspectives can come into a room, and it makes an organization better, or it makes an industry better. And we only have 5% of, there's an uneven, percentage of the perspective. I think it's okay to say that it is a need right now. You know what I mean? In order to bring, just the awareness to bring the awareness to women, you know what I mean, about ourselves.
I think that's the point, Dana, and I think you explained it well. So what I'm saying is there is a level of perception, and perspective. And really this one is about perspective. So my point is, start from the top-down view. You guys have a brilliant mentoring tool. But then you're saying, not that's strategically, the vision and strategy, but you're saying operationally, absolutely, the problem is that the amount of women in management and leadership and the cultural norms that sit behind a lot of that are not empowering for anybody, men or female. And so what I'm saying is that don't start from the what I'm hearing a bit is you're starting from the mentoring women position. Start from the mentoring position and then say we focus on women, because that's the biggest thing that needs sorting. And it's just a language thing, and this is that thing about buying into someone else's language. That's the language pattern. You remember when we were talking before about the Lockheed Martin thing? You buy into their language. Yeah, which is, well, you should only ever have 50% females. Why not? In my understanding, my experience, feminine characteristics and females make excellent leaders, and they should be many more. It should be 80-20. Most men, I don't feel, particularly make good leaders. They make very good competitive win-lose, you know, that type of leader, but that's not where we're moving to. If you're going to collaboration, my understanding is that many more women have that set of traits. So that was that bit. So I agree with you on that, but it was just the language you're using when you're taking it forward. I did have some fun because I did some work with the NHS in the UK, and it was helping them do their vision for sustainable development. So I was working with a guy that ran all that bit, and he was the head of the College of Surgeons in the UK. And he really scared me one day because it said, how do you do things? And he goes, well, it's very simple. He said, you watch one, you do one, you train one. And that was his view about operations where you saw people's legs off. Well, you watch one, then you'll do one, then you'll train one. And that's really how I got mentorship, and I was very scared. So that was that point. Then the other one that I think I'd had with it, that's enough talking from me. But the other one was, this business about when you're doing what you're doing. The other point I heard that was brilliant, and I won't explain it, I won't expand on it, but was this business about the other value you guys have that I haven't seen on your website. I've seen you've got like a mentor's guide, but what you guys were explaining before, the push it to two sides, rather than focus on the mentees, focus on how brilliant it is for the mentors. Because Dana, again, as you said, you get this stuff rolling and you learn so much from it. I think like Kay was saying, when you do this stuff, you learn so much from being a mentor. And so that, you know, that the value of you doing this is actually to boost up all those levels of women. It's not just about boosting the mentees up a level, it's about taking the mentors up lots of levels. And I thought that was something that you guys could perhaps expound more on.
Yes, yeah, actually, we are doing currently some website updates because of this event that is coming. And actually, whoever is in London around 12th of April, it's invited to come and listen. So yes, we do that, but it requires, again, a lot of work, but it will be done, it will be ready by the end of this week, or mostly the end of next week, because the proposition that I will be pitching is to other companies. So we need to update the website finally. It is kind of like when you focus on different things and you have time for your own stuff. So yeah, thank you for this point.
Yeah, it's interesting too, and to touch on the need for, you know, mentorship across. Actually, one of the women who is a part of our group and who normally joins this room, her name is Jo, and she's from Australia, and she sent me some videos this morning, and one of them was a video entitled "The Myth of Male Dominance," and it talked about, at the end of this video, and I'll put the link to it in the chat. But it was a woman giving a TED talk, and it's about 13 minutes long, I believe. And then at the 8-minute mark, she talks about that her experience when she started working with men, that's when she realized the need that men have. And it was really interesting, her breakdown of because if there's so many organizations that are trying to, like, you know, help women, you know, it's just about women finding them, but there's not any of that for men. And especially when they're a societal, like they did a very elementary experiment where she put up in a university that she taught at, you know, 2 walls. One wall was like, what is it like being a woman, or what's the hardest thing? And then she did the same for the men. And over the course of however many days, they just let people who were passing through the hallway fill it out. And what surprised her the most was that not only did more men fill out their wall, but the feedback was, the women feel that they're not safe, or that they're underrepresented, or that that there's not enough, you know what I mean, opportunity. But then the men felt that they were under too much pressure, and that there's this societal, cultural, thing that is over them all the time, telling them that they have to be this way, and they have to be the domineering, they have to show their manliness in this way, and kind of always be, and it was interesting. She was like, so there definitely needs to be spaces for both, so that instead of the cycle continuing where women feel like they're swimming upstream, if there's these spaces for men to heal and grow from, so that the cycle doesn't. So I'll put that in the chat. It was just, but as you were speaking, I just remembered this, and it was really powerful.
Actually, what reminds me is that being a mentor, another benefit of that is, as I mentioned before, like building your emotional intelligence and understanding and listening. So it is very important. So as you said, like women are pushed by society, but if you're emotionally intelligent enough to understand that society, that's their opinion. What you think about yourself is your opinion, and people will always tell you whatever they want to tell, but it is their problem. And by learning to listen, to be yourself, learning to be yourself is so difficult. I found it so difficult because you have so many opinions from so many different people, from people that you respect. And when you start building your network of like mentors and people that are smarter than you, and you see smarter people, you want to believe everyone and you want to respect everyone's opinion, but where is your voice? How you hear your voice? And that helps you because it builds a lot of self-awareness and a lot of understanding for yourself. So yeah, that was another benefit of mentoring, of being a mentor.
And I've just got one, when you were talking, Dana, I'm going to put it in the chat, but there's the program on Radio 4 called The Life Scientific, and this guy, Jim Al-Khalili, runs it. And this week I was in the car, and this week the person who he interviewed was this lady called Chris Binns, and she's the chief engineer for Crossrail, which is like the biggest infrastructure program in Europe. And then before that, she did King's Cross, and then before that, she did the Big Dig over in Boston, I think it is, isn't it? So basically, she's a hardcore engineer, and he interviewed her, and if you can get access to it, the talk was fantastic. And she was absolutely amazing because she's an engineer, and she is the chief engineer on some of the biggest projects. And part of her thing was she said that she started to address the inclusion. 30% of the team are women as engineers on a railway. This is a railway thing, yes. This is like big, heavy stuff. But I'll drop it in the chat for you. But thank you.
No, I'd love to see it. That'd be awesome. Thank you for that contribution.
Yeah, I just remembered it when you were talking, Dane.
Yeah. So Juliana, I want to hear more about, so you said you had 3 catalyst proposals. Mm-hmm. What is the difference between them? Like, can you kind of just give us the top line of what does each address?
Yes. So first one is automated mentor matching, which is in the onboarding challenge. The second one is AI mentor matching software in the B2B challenge, and the third one is for Mentorship Down. So basically, the automated mentor matching tool is using mentorship and specifically our approach to bring more people to the community. And to bring more people to the community by building building that kind of trust. So basically, I think there was a similar, I'm not sure it was a similar, but the buddy approach. So if you join the community, so when I joined, I had Jonathan, so he was my mentor. So he was navigating me in a couple of months and whatever, because there are so many things that are happening. But if you have someone that is with you through this process for, let's say, 3 months, the way that we design our mentoring program, it is much more secure, let's say, or I don't know if it's secure, but you feel much better because you have someone to ask all the stupid questions that you have. So this is one way that we want to bring more people, and because there is a very I think I saw some numbers that there are many people that are joining, but what is the engagement and what's happened with these people when they join, and how engaged they are with proposals and with everything. So I think with this proposal we can build that kind of implementing the trusted relationships in the onboarding process from the very beginning. So you have a good experience from the first time you join the community. The second one is
well, and I just want to touch on that really quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but as somebody who just my first experience with Catalyst was in Fund 7, and now in Fund 8, I added that community advisor I assessed for the first time. That is such a key thing. The onboarding process. I mean, I know that there's some, like Catalyst School, and there are people who are helping on like a more general scale, but even that, like some of these things are so cumbersome and the information is all over the place. So if you're matched with a specific person that can kind of guide you through and help you, instead of just, you know what I mean, looking at a piece of paper and understanding you have somebody to call, you feel safe enough to ask those questions instead of like having to go into a forum. And it's not just a one-on-one one time, it's somebody that you can call on over an extended period of time. Like this is so needed. So I totally I'm voting this up. I mean, and actually, this isn't any financial advice or telling anybody what to do, but that's what I'm doing for that proposal. So talk about your next proposal.
So actually I had I joined Catalyst School as well in the beginning, and I had one-time call, but with one-time call, as we have spoke, it is not possible to build a trust in one-time call, just not possible. You just meet the person, had a great conversation. How do you build this trust? How do you know this person? It requires more time. Trust requires time, and it's inevitable. So so that was the first one. The second one that Harry is part of is AI mentor matching software. So basically the technology that we currently have in our company to replicate, to create a pool. So we in OneUpOneDown, we have different pools for different organizations. So to create a specific pool for Catalyst community, so where we can match people from Catalyst community to the international network that we have. And for example, because we communicate and partner with other big organizations, to be able to match, for example, the tech leaders from another big organization to these leaders here, and just to have that kind of cross-pool transfer knowledge, cross-pool building the trust in a different level. So basically replicating this for Cardano. And the third one is, any questions here?
No, so the second one is more about the software.
Yes.
And making sure that it is, that you can support it, you can support the updates, modifications, all of those things, and making sure that it's matching people who can build their relationships. It's that dating website software that needs to make sure that it's correct.
Because the machine learning algorithm that we currently use, so in order to have a good model, you need a lot of data and a lot of computing power. And if you want to replicate that now, like build from scratch, it will a lot of work. It will require a lot of work. So our solution was to build a specific pool for Catalyst community and to use what we already have, because it is working and we use it anyway. So instead of building that from scratch.
Yeah, it's awesome. And especially if it's the whole machine learning thing. Sometimes I hear these words and I'm like, when are we going to be like working for machines one day? You know what I mean? Just because they're going to get so smart and we're going to be ruled by technology. But I think that it's awesome to be able to not, because if you get paired with the wrong person, whether, you know what I mean, there could be some explosive stuff going on, and then people have a bad experience, and then they don't want to be a part of the community anymore. Do you guys have any like protocols? This is a question that just came up out of the top of my head right now. Do you have any protocols for when conflicts arise between mentor mentee?
Yes, so that is another point, that so many mentorship programs, they're built like in a longer period of time. So you either have that kind of one-time matching when in one call you cannot build a trust, we got that, or you either have like a 6-month period match that it's kind of like building the trust, but for 6 months, what if you meet the wrong person? What is the mentorship is not going well? So what happens? So what we come up with this kind of short time frame, where actually, if you think about all these accelerators programs and all the testing projects, they're in, even catalyst funds are in 3 months. So you have 3 months period, because in a 3 months, it's such a smart approach that you can work together in a project kind of, or a challenge that you both parties have, or can work together through a challenge. And also you can catch this this match. If the match is not very good, you can catch it very early. And also we do so it's an automated process, so we do check-ins and understanding through the mentorship experience to know if for example, some people don't show up in a meeting and the other person is annoying because but if you catch that very early, and it's about the communication, so if you communicate properly and if you catch it in the beginning, you can switch that very quickly. And we, of course, hit people that are not happy with their matches, but because it is changing so quickly and we communicate that, it happens like in life. So if you find the wrong partner, that's life. So you move away and move to the next one. What you can do?
You swipe left and you go on to the next, right?
So yeah, so when you communicate that properly, and that is especially with the time frame, you can catch it earlier and move for the next one, and hope that the next one will be better.
Yeah. Okay, now tell us about the third one.
Okay, so the third one is that how we build that in a scale, like how we built a DAO around this concept of building trust, and how we actually also imagine, so we have this kind of trusted relationship between people. How do we incentivize people for having extraordinary experience, for building trusted relationship? So imagine for every mentorship experience, you get coins or you get NFTs or something, and it is about the experience. And actually, I had that kind of wake ups through the night thinking about how this will be built, waking up at 3 a.m, drawing all the schemes, and then go back to the bed. So I've been thinking about this concept of like scaling this model for a long time, like maybe a year now. And when Jonathan, it was actually a random conversation with Jonathan, and he said, Jan, do you know that you can build that actually in Cardano, because this and this and this and technology work in this way? And I was like, okay, really? So that fills up the picture that I already have in my head. And actually in Cardano, you have Singularity Net, which is about artificial intelligence, where we can duplicate our model. Currently, you have a very important part, which is zero knowledge proof. And why is that important? So with our mentorship program, we remove the self-selection. So many mentorship programs, they will have a list with mentors where you have to choose a list from this list, or even actually Catalyst community have a page where everyone is listed there, so you can go and pick your person. But we're humans, we make a lot of errors, and we make so many errors that you cannot imagine, like, and very, very often we are wrong. So by removing the self-selection and letting a machine, letting computers or technology to make this selection and to learn from our mistakes and to make better choices instead of us is so much better, because you remove that kind of friction. Who is the best person for me? Or for example, if I give you a list with 10 people that are, I don't know, in high level positions, how do you know who's the best person for you? You have no idea. And another thing is that we can be binary. So for example, if I see someone and I will judge this person because I see and I don't like the look, and this is not possible to be avoided because we live in a world that we are taught that way. So there is no possible that there are many things, many decisions that you make in life that you are not aware that you have you're designed in that way. And there are so many factors that influence, like your environment, your friends, your father, mother, whatever happens in your life, and you don't know why you are here, but all these experiences shape it. And now you need to choose, and you will choose based on all these experiences that you have in life. So you make a selection, and how do you know this is the right person? You don't know. So that's why we learn who will be the best person for you, and we just give you a suggestion. And zero proof knowledge protocol hide the people, hide the personality, let's say, but proves that this person gone through this experience, and it fits perfectly to our network, because we want to put all these people in a blockchain, but to hide their kind of personality, but to prove that they have this experience, or they have, for example, they have gone through a lot of trusted relationship, or they have like mentored many people. But how do you prove that this person has this experience but you don't reveal their identity? So hopefully, because of this technology now, as in Cardano, you can do that. And there are other components that I have closely looked at, and also I'm in collaboration with James from Gimbal Lab, who helps me to understand that kind of how we can build that and how we can test it actually in Gimbal Labs as well, and to make it to move it.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Juliana. So it's like so the amount of tokens or the DAO is going to help not only incentivize that you're going to have high profile quality mentors that have certain, levels of experience, but then the technology is going to basically, it's going to be the one who's going to take the mentor through kind of like not a requirements test, but it's going to be the one to basically put their name behind the person, because it's all that there's all like bias taken out. And that's genius. So there's not going to be a picture, there's not going to be anything that can hinder a person from being biased in their choosing of who they're going to get or who they want to mentor. Is that correct?
Yeah. And you can, for example, what we are thinking is to test basically the proposal is about exploring the area, because it requires to write a white paper. And even my proposal is not very good, because I don't know how to write a paper, but how to write a white paper, but I'm so curious and willing to learn. And still, my experience in life, I know that it is about the desire that you want to learn. Challenges are not problem for me. I love them. I love to struggle a lot. So as you can see, so for example, you mint, for example, you can mint an NFT by having that kind of relationship, and then each person get a fraction of this NFT. So you are incentivized, for example, in that way. But are still that concept. So I can,
Yeah. Kay has a question, and then Dimitri.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when you guys were talking about like what people like look like and things like that, when I started getting on crypto Twitter, and I came from like the Instagram community, over there, everything is so extremely heavily based off of looks, how you look, what your body looks like. And at times it definitely gives a false sense to people. And I think it actually doesn't necessarily, it's not beneficial. You know, I found myself looking and comparing myself to people, and at the point where I was like, you know what, this isn't really healthy. I should be following and being around people I feel inspired, that I feel, you know, I don't want to like look at somebody's content or page and then walk away and not feel inspired and feel kind of like, ugh. And when I came over to Twitter, I didn't know what anybody looked like because most people have PFPs of NFT projects. And it was the first time that I could just listen to a person, don't care what they look like. And I almost liked it better when I didn't know what the people looked like, because there is, unfortunately, we're humans and we analyze people, assess people in 2.2 seconds as soon as we look at what their face, body, what they dress, what they drive, all that materialistic stuff that really doesn't matter in life. And it was just so refreshing to come to a community where it doesn't matter what you look like. It matters like what your personality, what your mission is, your core values. And we all had something in common. And I think that's why it's so hard for me to, not so hard, but like trying to balance both, you know, because you guys did touch on balancing, because I enjoy the Twitter crypto Cardano community so much. And it's like, I finally found like my people, I feel like, where I don't have that same camaraderie on like Instagram. And I don't feel like, you know, I talk about crypto over there and it's like, I think I probably have a better, you know, I could probably just talk to the wall, because over there it's just everything's based on looks and it's not really like knowledge based. And so when you guys said that, that like really resonated with me, because that was the reason that kept me in, I think maybe not what attracted me, but kept me sticking around. It was like, these people are so cool and they're so informative and they're so helpful. So I think that that was like a key point when you guys talked on that. So I just kind of wanted to give you my 2 cents of where that related to me personally, and how much I found coming over to Twitter, crypto Twitter, Cardano Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and finding like-minded individuals. And it didn't matter what you looked like. It didn't matter if you wear name brand things. It doesn't matter what your car is. It matters like who you are as a person. What is your vision? Do you believe in centralization? And what can we do to actually make a difference in this world? And people are actually making a difference. We're not just talking about it, where I feel like when I was on the other platform, I didn't have that connection where I felt inspired when I walked away. And I do with this.
That's awesome, Kay. And I think that's where you talk about some of these other platforms are designed to be, I mean, when you talk about Instagram,
they were intentionally designed.
They're designed to do that. They're designed to do that. And it's unhealthy, you know, even myself being, Twitter has really been the only social media platform that I've been able to have a healthy relationship with social media, and for my mental health and all the things that go along with that. So I totally agree. That's why I think that this platform and the way that it's being deployed, and when you take out the physical part of it, when you're first being matched, you focus on the learning. You can focus more on the learning and about, you know, the beneficial parts of, instead of just, you know, what do people think, or what I'm comparing myself, you know. I think it helps us to be able to spike our creativity, be able to learn more from people of different cultures, because you might be paired with somebody from another country. You might be paired with somebody who might not look like you. You might be paired with somebody who might not be from the same economic background as you, you know, and those things are valuable. Those relationships are valuable, because when we start getting to understand each other at a level that, you know, we're all now making relationships with people who are not like us, then we start to get a better idea of how to make solutions in this Web3 space that are useful for everyone. Dimitri.
Yeah, thanks. So I wanted to say, first of all, your presentation was great.
All right.
Oh, you're very fuzzy.
Yeah, one sec, I'll connect my mic.
Actually, one point that to add to that, then is that so when I met Natalie, it was such a different experience. So culture in Natalie in New Zealand and culture in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is an Eastern Europe country. It is so different that my mind stretched in such a way that I was thinking that there's something wrong. So I need to figure out what is wrong with her. Because there's it is totally different. So if I'm waiting for the day that I will bring Natalie to Bulgaria. She will be like in a I don't know. Very, very interesting.
Oh my, that's so funny. You're like, I gotta show this girl another life, another way. But it's I love it. I love getting to know different cultures and people and being able to experience, because it makes you have superpowers in your area of business. Because when you can look at things from a perspective that is more global, you have that, those are superpowers. I don't know
that's how you open your mind, and that's how you become more objective, because now I don't only look from Eastern European perspective, I look from American's perspective, I look from New Zealand's perspective, because I get to know these people. And if you haven't, and how you meet someone in New Zealand if you live in Bulgaria, and how you build this connection, very, very deep connection that you can learn from each other. Yeah, sorry, Dimitri.
Oh, I don't know, Dimitri. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just wanted to first say the presentation you did, the speech was great. Can you hear me first of all? Is it clear now?
You're still really fuzzy.
If you can write down the question.
Maybe in the chat.
Hold on, I'll move. Maybe the signal is not that great. So what I was saying is that your speech was really good. And one thing I would say is I completely agree that women are generally better mentors because they have that spirit of communicating with each other, as opposed to men who like to be more isolated and communicate more on the professional level than a personal level. So as such, women have that warmth in them that allows them to be mentors. I just wanted to say, can I make a suggestion on your speech presentation, if I may? Is that okay?
Yes. Bye, Harry.
Just if you were able to, your speech is really powerful, and definitely when you're speaking to the crowd, if you are able to with particular people, you will recognize when they are resonating with you and when they are really following you more deeply than the other people. So when you see that happening, you will be able to, if you just make eye contact with those people, a few seconds, like you'll see maybe depending on the size of the group, 3 or 4 or 10 people, and you'll see who is following you more intensely than the other people. And this is something I've found to be true. So if you make eye contact with them while you're speaking, that resonation that's happening with them will also boost you. I mean, exactly like what you said with the mentoring, where the mentoring boosts the mentor. So you will find that when you recognize them appreciating you, that will give you a certain kind of energy in your presentation as well. So on a presentation point of view, just wanted to share that tip, which I found fairly useful in my own speeches that I have made in different settings. The second question, but the second thing I wanted to ask is, you spoke about the trust being built up. So what will happen in a situation where, let's say, the mentor and the mentee, there is some breakage of trust? So how does that get fixed, or how do they heal that, or is there any process that is built into your system to facilitate that?
You mean how is this currently working in our platform, or how do we think we'll solve this problem in a DAO, for example?
Well, both. I mean, in the sense of when trust is broken, how do you get it? How does the system get it back, and how, or in the DAO, if it's different, how will that be got back? Because we can't always expect the relationship to go upwards and upwards and upwards. Sometimes there may be misunderstandings, or there may be some sort of breakage of the relationship in a little bit or more than a little bit. So how do the mentor and mentee get it back to the way it was before?
So if I understand correctly, how do the mentor and the mentee get back if the match is not good and the experience was not good?
I think Juliana earlier had like if there's a break in trust, or if there is or if there's not a good match, Juliana, the time frame of the mentorship is going to help with that. And then also there's an ability to, get another mentor, if I'm understanding correctly what you were saying earlier.
No, I didn't ask. I didn't say if it wasn't a good match. I meant if it is a good match and they do it well, but in that process, suddenly there is some misunderstanding. So they matched well, but suddenly something got upset a little bit. How do they get it back to that good place?
Oh, so like a conflict management.
A small, not necessarily conflict, but a misunderstanding, maybe.
Oh, misunderstanding.
Okay.
Well, what I would say is that, obviously OneUpOneDown, it does a lot of vetting of their mentors. They are encouraging people to join, but I think that there's also maybe like Juliana, and tell me if I'm wrong, there's kind of like a baseline training to use your site and how to interact. And that might be a part of, if ever a misunderstanding arises, these are the protocol or the game plan for how to handle it, and that also teaches, that might be a learning experience for the mentor too. These are just all opportunities to help us grow in how to interact with people where there might be misunderstandings or differences in culture that provoke, some type of, mistrust or a break in mistrust, and allowing people to, give them a chance to work through it. But if at the end of the day, it can't be solved, or, a resolution, or it can't get back to normal, there's an opportunity to get another mentor. But I don't know, Juliana, let me know if what I said is incorrect.
Yes, so yeah, that is correct. And that's actually a very good question, because so what is the result that we currently see for being for practicing that kind of near peer mentorship is, as I said earlier, is that you improve your self-awareness and you improve your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence have a lot of aspects, and one thing is that what questions you ask yourself and what questions you ask the person from the other side. So if you see a conflict, usually we people are reactors. We react emotionally because biologically emotions are faster than you can understand the situation and say stop to yourself. So this is biologically built in your body. So if you distract that, so the trick is that how you stop these reactors reacting feeling yourself, and how you become an observer. What it means to be an observer. To be an observer is, okay, so you see a problem, so you see the other person is behaving in not a good way, or you cannot agree on something. The first question that you ask is, what I'm doing wrong? So you first must look at yourself. And this is something that we try to teach people to learn. So if, for example, someone email us and say, oh, I had a call, I didn't have the call with my mentor because she rescheduled 3 times. What should I do? And we try to teach people to learn from each experience. Every experience in your life, negative or positive, is a great lesson for you. Why? Because, and actually the greatest lessons come from the negative experiences, because you're much more grateful for them, and you remember more negative because negative emotions are much more stronger than positive. That's why you learn more from negative experiences. And so if you start asking, so in every conflict, if, for example, you disagree with someone or with some situation, what I'm doing wrong, or for example, if this person, like, it's not showing up what could stop this person? What if this person had a problem, like personal problems? What if someone died in her family or something happened? You don't know, and the first reaction that we will do is to judge, of course, because we react that way. But we teach people to prevent this kind of a reaction, first impulse, because it's an impulse, and to start and to ask first the questions and to think objectively, think from all the situation, from all the angles. There is no right person in every case. There is always many different points, many perspectives, as Harry said earlier, and it's about the perspective, it's about yourself. And this is how we handle it so far, and how we think we will handle it in a blockchain. It comes, I will tell you in a couple of months, hopefully.
And you know what? I love that, Juliana. I love those two questions. You know, when a conflict is starting to arise, or you're feeling not the two questions of what have I contributed to this that is not good? And also, could there be something going on behind the scenes that this person is dealing with that I don't know about? I love that. The other thing I would say too is also, oh shoot, I just lost it in repeating what you were saying. I'm sure it'll come back.
But that is true with every relationship. For example, if you have a personal a relation with my partner, we most of the time, I don't remember, we argue very little times. Like most of the time, we always ask, because maybe because I'm that kind of, I'm self-exploring a lot. And before judging him for whatever happens, for even if he is like hard for me, even if he says something that hurts me, I will ask why. And so my first reaction, my impulse is, yeah, negative. I don't like it. But my second thought is, okay, why I don't like it, and start asking myself why. And when you build this behavior, and what is happening with mentorship is that when you have one relationship, second relationship, third relationship, you change your behavioral habits, and you start, you break the chain of your habits that you have so far, and your thinking that you have so far, and you build a new thinking. And this is very important, because you can read about that. You can read a lot of books on the topic, but this is actually practicing, and you can learn by practicing, because practicing is, because you're in the situation. And I have learned I have read a lot of emotions and controlling the emotions, and then I'm in the situation and I cannot control myself. And then I stop and try again and try again and try again. Why? Because only by reading, you have to practice it. And this is so simple to practice it. Just become a mentor.
Yeah, you know what, Juliana, I remember what I was going to say because of something you just said just now. I also think a lot of times, and I hate the word trigger, you know, because it's such a buzzword right now in mental health space, but a lot of times we are interacting with people and in spaces, and if a mentor and mentee have a disagreement or there's some hurt that's going on, it also could be something that's triggering a cycle that's gone on in that person's life in the past. And I try to, you know, and I only speak from experience because there's been working relationships where I'm like, I take a step back and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person is not my mom, this person is not my dad, this person is not my ex-boyfriend. Why am I retaliating like they're that person? You know what I mean? Like I'm a hurt child that is backed into a corner, and now I got to punch my way out of it. And realizing like, hey, we're both, if somebody's mentoring me or if I'm mentoring somebody, we're both here, hopefully, for the good of each other. Our intentions are not to hurt each other. So if somebody is signing up to be a mentor, or if somebody's signing up to be a mentee, if we can come from a place of like the understanding is, hey, we need to take a step back. Why did we join this website? Why do we come together in the first place? To build us both up. You know, I like how Natalie always puts it. She says, when the tide rises, all the ships rise on the tide. You know what I mean? The tide can't rise in just one ship, you know, and I want to sink the other ship. You know what I mean? It's something of that nature too. And this is all about personal growth. You know, we're in a technical space, but it's making us really look inward because there aren't a lot of rules, and we're building the frontier. We're building the plane. We're putting the wings on the plane as it's flying in the sky. You know what I mean? So there are going to be hard situations that pop up, and I'm sure that there's going to be things that need to be detailed, but also the more of these instances that happen in One Up, One Down, I'm sure that there's going to be a catalog captured so that when similar things happen down the line, they'll be able to nip these things in the butt and have, you know, example to go back to from, here's what happened last time, here's how, you know what I mean, there's how we handled it, we can build off of it, maybe we do something a little bit different. But you know, just the more they're gaining a catalog of people and to help match each other, but then they're also gaining a catalog of experiences and how to just keep refining the process, keep refining the experience, keep refining mentor-mentee relationships. And that's kind of how I see.
That is actually very important, because with near peer, so what happened with many mentoring relationship is that you might find a mentor that is too far away from you. And if the mentor, for example, is very far away from the point that you are, it is more difficult to relate. But when you find someone that is so fresh in what you're currently, for example, facing, so you still, it's very difficult to listen the lessons, because someone will come to you and will say, listen, so you here is doing something, so it's better to do it that way because I struggled and I faced these challenges, and you are still kind of relying on your experience, but the process, so what this person will tell you as an experience is so much fresh, and it can relate so much better, while having that kind of big gap between the mentee and the mentor. You cannot get that kind of engagement in such a personal level, because, for example, now I'm building my company and I can mentor someone that is, for example, now graduating, and I do that. And the lady is from New Zealand, again, it happens to be from New Zealand, and she's just kind of graduating. She's exactly 10 years, and she's she doesn't know which direction to go and to explore. And it is so easy for me because it's so close. So I was there 10 years ago. 10 years is not that much, and for 10 years, some matches are with small gap difference between the years, but it's kind of it is so fresh in your mind. It would be very difficult if I'm 50 years old and I need to mentor this 20 years old girl, because totally different mindsets. You speak different languages, so that is very important, again, for the specific near peer mentoring.
Yeah. And then Satya, and this has been great. We're going to take Satya's question, and then I don't know, Juliana, how long you want to keep the room open? Just because
it's almost
yeah. Let's go, Satya.
Hey. I just have one last question to you. It's a technical question. Are you building this as a DAO?
We are not building that. We are exploring. We have a lot of drawings, and we have started to explore the area. So before trying this, so our first step is to explore the space, explore and figure out what is the scope of this project, because it is important not to let's go do it without knowing what is the scope of the project. Getting the right people that are also engaged as much as we are, understanding different aspects of the different areas of the project, and so bringing the right people and scoping the project, and as well as tasting that kind of small piece of project in Gimbal Amps.
Okay, great. So if in case in future, if you have plans to build it as a DAO, I think that problem of the mentor-mentee relationship, as Diana quoted, it's a relationship that is built over the time. So it'll be great if it's gonna become a DAO in the future, and this consensus could be solved easily with deploying a governance protocol. So basically a dispute resolution protocol that is overseen by a governance protocol. So technically it is solvable. So it's it's a wonderful project. So I just don't want it to face any issues in the future. So
No,
one
no,
small from my end.
absolutely. That's,
Awesome. Thanks for your input.
yeah. Actually, I'm the last person that will be afraid of challenges or of problems. I know, I of course understand coming from Bulgaria, my first thinking is, what is the worst scenario that could happen? And not only one scenario, what are all the worst scenarios that will happen? Because that's how you live in Bulgaria. You first think for the worst scenario. And from them, you become kind of like positive, because that's how you grow. And there is no way. And this is very important, because you become more critical. And when you figure out or try to at least predict all the problems, all the negative sides, that's fine. But it is having the problems. It is not a problem. I cannot promise that it's a problem. If you say someone that it's a problem, it's a project without problems, you're lying, because there are so many problems. And the thing is not to be afraid of problems or be afraid of challenges. Is exactly the opposite side. You should go and face them, because that's how you become resilient to these projects and to these problems. So maybe that makes me resilient, because
and because you're building a very beautiful community that is like-minded, because this is all for free. So when such like-minded people are coming together, you can do wonders with that, such communities. Yeah. So all the very best for your project. All my support is there. I think everyone in this room will agree to that. So all the very best. Dana, nice meeting you too. It was wonderful.
Nice to see you again. Yes. Yeah.
So hopefully I'll try to catch up again next week. I'll be traveling, so I'm not sure. But yeah, anyways, I'll keep seeing you guys here.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your questions and engagement.
Thank you.
Dimitri, you're breaking up.
Yeah, I said I think all the very
you sound like a robot underwater.
Okay, all the best, Juliana, for your team.
Thank you. I hear that.
So I do understand how it was helpful.
I hope that were good words, because I was but couldn't hear a lot.
We appreciate you engaging and contributing to Dimitri. We did not really hear much of what you said, but I think it was a sign off maybe, or giving Juliana encouragement for her talk.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for your advice, actually, for talking in front of many people. I had always this problem, and my plan is to look at one person, or just to focus on specific areas, because yeah,
I think you did a good job, for sure.
Okay.
And
Cool.
just making sure you breathe and not just rush through, you know what I mean? Your points, really allow them to settle in, you know what I mean? And I think you did great. I think this was a great room, and we're still recording, but I think this might be a great time to wind down the room. What do you think?
Yes. Thank you
Awesome.
for encourage me to speak after a little fight in the beginning. That
I know. She's like, I don't know, but I think that this is great, and I think it's great for the space too, and also for the Catalyst community to know more about you and your proposals. So I think it's a win-win-win all around.
Yes.
So you got a little practice for your speech. We learned about you as a valuable member of the community, and now people are all going to want to vote for your proposals. So I think it's great.
Yes. And thank you for asking me to record this. I will watch it.
Yes, very cool.